our sole responsibility is to be there for our own. On that day, we had a couple incidents take place. Fortunately, Ladder 1, which was initiated to Mayday, is where we diverted our efforts to initially. And those guys relied on their training to get them back to a safe space, which at that point, it gave us the opportunity to divert our efforts to Quincy. Which is the crane operator that was here earlier. You don't get that. You don't get the ability to talk to the guy that you helped save. Murphy, in the event, along with 3 others, we staged some equipment on the tower because unfortunately that his conditions become really bad before we could get to him. So I spoke with him on a radio for roughly 35 minutes, ensuring him we would come and get him. So with that, Murphy was able to extend all the way to the top of the ladder, provide him with some protective clothing, and that man come down like a cat. He was ready. But we stuck with him on the radio, assuring him that we would be there. The other guys on scene, the other aerial apparatus and hose lines that they had stretched to the adjacent building was to keep the crane cool, because we all know the dynamics of fire and what it does to metal, elongation, all those things. It doesn't mean anything to the civilian, but to us, that means catastrophic failure. So our whole time, we're thinking that the crane is going to take significant heat and we're going to watch it fall, on top of him being in a column of smoke or fire for an extended period of time. But 28 years on the job, I've never seen anything like that. And to talk to him on the radio and him tell you that he's down to his last bottle of water. So, I mean, thanks for Murphy and the other 3 or 4 that climbed that day, taking residual air pack stuff to put him on air if needed, to provide him protective clothing. But as Chief Nance said, and emotions are running wild right now. But as he said before, I mean, we do train all the time for this type of an event. God forbid that it happens, but fortunately, he looks out after us. And probably the most important phone call that I've ever received was him. To know that we put it out on the line every day, and we will do everything in our power to help save anyone. But when you communicate and talk to a gentleman for 35 minutes on a radio, it means a lot. So to say, what can the community do? Just keep us in our thoughts and our prayers. We're here every day doing this. Fortunately, we all came home that night. I mean, fortunately, right? And Ladder 1's not here today, but fortunately, they're still with us. We still think about the 2 that didn't make it. We think about the others that Chief Scaris mentioned earlier in his conversation that have passed earlier in this month. I think I even heard the fire chief in one of his briefings with y'all earlier in the week say that we want to be 100%. And the 2 that we lost that night, that makes us not 100%. So we live with that. We think about that.